Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 221. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my magnificent co-host, Mike.
Yeah, this is a post 4th of July episode where everybody drank way too much beer, and we're doing this. We're doing the early show this morning. I just got around to golfing this morning, though. You know, Mario golf, not real golf, but
The best kind of golf.
yeah, that game's awesome. Who else is awesome? Mr. Jed McKay is on the show today. I unfortunately don't get to interview him alongside Chris. I'm really upset, though, because I wanted to confide in him that he was like the reason I picked up Marvel books again with Avengers Mech Strike. So if you're not reading that book, what the hell's wrong with you?
I'm pretty sure I told him off air that that you're kind of the DC guy, I'm more the Marvel guy.
Yeah.
And I said, and when that book first came out, it was the 1 week I can remember where Mike and I both agreed the best book of the week was a Marvel book.
Yeah, it was Avengers Mech Strike.
I will say, everybody, I completely zoned out that he's doing the Magic book, so we did not talk about that, but we did talk about all of the great Marvel stuff he's doing.
Oh my god, yeah, he's doing Magic the Gathering too. Yeah, two great books. Yeah, and I'm currently reading it, but he's got so much. He's got so much he's doing that it's like it.
And I'm just infinitely more excited about Moon Knight after talking to him as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get him back then. Talk about Magic. I'm kind of glad we didn't talk about Magic, though, because I'm definitely more into Magic now than you, but you were more into Magic back in the day, and the lore is just all over the place, so like we would definitely get some shit wrong, and people would be mad at us. Like, I'm just appreciating the story for what it is now, but like there's definitely some lore that people follow when the cards come out, and which is fine, but I just can't keep up with it.
So I was gonna talk to you about this the other day, but I figured I'd save this for the show. I'm working the other day, and we have this place I deliver to, and it's a board game. They do Magic, they do Warhammer, they do D&D, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I get into my truck, and there's just these piles of boxes. And on the side of it, it just says Magic the Gathering Zendikar sets.
Oh, boy.
And I tried to send you a picture saying, where do I start the bidding?
Yeah. That's awesome.
I started laughing that I have these stacks of Magic cards in my truck.
Yeah. The newest set, not to talk too much about Magic, but the newest set's going to be crazy because it's Dungeons and Dragons crossover, so it's Forgotten Realms crossover. They've added cards like, for anyone who's a D&D fan or you just know of the monsters, like there's a Beholder card. There's a card, they added like a dungeon mechanic, so like they draw out like a dungeon map and you can like send your like character through a dungeon, like make choices and stuff. They've added like, they always add more and more layers to complicate the game, but like Dritz de Warden is one of the most famous characters within the D&D realm, and he's like going to be a planeswalker now. It's wild, or a legendary card. I can't imagine that they're going to like make they're going to make $1 billion off this next release. Like it's going to sell out, and they're going to talk about. They always say, "Oh, we don't have enough. We're running out of printing." It's like, no, you have enough. You're just trying to create the fear of missing out.
Yeah, false scarcity. Yeah. I know people who could give a crap less about Magic that are just like D&D people that are going to buy the set.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to sell a bajillion cards. Anyways, let's jump into the news. We don't want to keep Jed McKay waiting any longer. But some really good news this week. Production for season 3 of The Boys starts, and Amazon announced the new additions to the cast. Sean Patrick Flannery, Nick Weschler, and Miles Gaston are joining the show in undisclosed characters. Also, the fact that Jensen Ackles, like you've seen the pictures of him in his suit.
Yeah, I think I talked about that in a week you were out of town.
But that was like getting me more pumped than anything. I'm so excited for the show.
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine who is a hater of the show because that's how he lives life.
Yep.
But when they did him in the comics, because I was trying to figure out in my head like why I love the show, even though it's so much different. And one of the things I love is that the comic was a commentary on comics and the comics industry and blah 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 blah.
Right.
And then when this hit, I'm like, it's the Captain America suit just kind of muted.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah, it's because they're doing the same thing they did in the comics, just they're making that commentary about superhero movies now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why that made me love that suit infinitely more, even though it looks nothing like the comic, but I love it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jensen himself is going to bring in a huge boatload of fans just from the Supernatural series.
And Sean Patrick Flannery of Boondock Saints fame.
Yep.
Love that man. So
yeah, it's I can't wait. Let's talk about Loki. Last week's episode, I mean spoilers, so skip I don't know a couple minutes, but I finished that episode. And did you watch it?
Yes.
I finished that episode. I was like, this is like my favorite show out of the Marvel shows. And it's not even for after everybody's freaking out about the after credit scene. That was awesome, but like just the writing of like Loki, like the laughing gags of like, oh, he's getting kicked in the nuts over and over again, like in torture, but also the fact that like it hits him like you'll be forever alone, but then he finds love, and where does he find love? Within himself, kind of, like that's how much of a narcissist he is. He thinks it's okay to be like, oh, I found, another iteration of myself that I love because I don't love anyone more than myself. And it's like, the writing in this show is fantastic. And then on top of that, we get the huge, like, is Owen Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Mobius.
Mobius is starting to question his place in all this because you get the reveal that these people weren't made by the timekeepers. They were, pulled out of their timelines.
Yeah, they're variants themselves.
Yeah, they're variants themselves.
Mind wiped.
And then we get the big fight, the battle scene, like, because they're both captured. They get up to the timekeepers and they fight. And then they do the whole, like, the Star Wars, like, sitting on the throne and cutting him with the lightsaber. She throws a spear and cuts off the head of one of the, Sylvie throws a spear and cuts off the head of one of the timekeepers. And it's revealed that they're robots. Which then it's like, well, shit. Who watches the Watcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in that whole situation, and then we see Loki get whatever they call it, disintegrated, blah blah blah. We find out that he doesn't die. He goes to looks like a universe where all the other Lokis that have been like pulled out of their timelines go, right? And what do we have? Alligator Loki.
So we had Kid Loki.
Kid Loki.
It looked like we had Old Man Loki.
And that's played by like a famous actor. I can't remember his name, but
yeah.
This show is so crazy, man. I can't believe they did that.
As much as I love that end credit scene and like how it played out,
yeah,
I was seriously sitting there like they didn't just kill the two biggest stars.
Oh yeah,
I was like the balls on this show, and then
right.
At the end, it's kind of like, well, they're not really dead, but I still like the idea of like people watching this like throughout are just like, wait, they just killed Owen Wilson, and they're killing Loki,
right?
What the fuck? And then that reveal.
I almost wonder if he's going to go to an Owen Wilson like universe where he's an actor. Like there's an actor Owen Wilson, you know what I mean?
Well, you've seen the memes out there of like the same sequence with Loki, but it's Owen Wilson is different.
Yeah, different versions of himself. Yeah, the show is so good. There's only a few episodes left, which is sad, but
yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, it's a big setup for what's going to happen in Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
but I'll be interested to see who the big bad really is. because I still think Marvel's pulling one out from under us, and it's going to be Kang.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be, but in the Jed McKay Avengers Mech Strike, it's Kang. And what if maybe in the cinematic universe we could get like Megazord Avengers with, at the end of it all, like how do we one up Infinity War? We give all the Avengers mech suits to fight Kang the Conqueror. Hell yeah! Give me that universe.
It's also important to know that I believe it's this week that Marvel's launching a Kang miniseries.
Of course they are. Black Widow comes out soon, right? Isn't that next weekend?
Next week, or this coming weekend, yeah.
Did everybody forget about that movie?
I want to see it, but COVID has made me lazy.
Yeah, I haven't
don't want to go out to the movie theater.
No, I won't go to a theater. Yeah. It was funny because I was talking about remember having like family reunions and all that stuff. Like people stopped all that for COVID, and then then they had the idea of like we don't need to do that stuff anymore. If nobody talks about we don't need to get together, once a year and awkwardly hang around people. Like it's same thing with movies. Like if I can't watch it from the comfort of my home, I don't know, it's really tough to get me out of here.
I realized that after all of my bitching and moaning about Marvel's $30 to watch it at home thing, I'm like, it kind of worked, because there was a moment where I was sitting there like, I could just pay $30 and not leave my house.
And not leave, and make popcorn here. Perfect. Okay, let's jump into movie news. Shazam 2 director David S. Sandberg released a new image of the Shazam family. They all got new suits. They all look fantastic, except for he talked about the little lightning bolt on, which is weird because everybody has such a large lightning bolt on their suit, except Shazam. I don't know. Maybe it just was uncomfortable for him or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But isn't the actress from Mary Marvel, isn't that a different actress as well?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Mike's got the image, everybody. He's enhancing.
Yeah, it looks like the same person. I don't know. All I can see is the guy on the far right just looks like he should be Superman. And that was the guy who was cast as Superman in the George Miller.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, the dude all the way on the right that looked like it's super, actually is jacked, unlike everybody else is wearing padding.
So I can't tell with those, it kind of looks like everybody else's lightning bolt got a little smaller, but the way, is it Zachary Levi?
Mm-hmm.
The way he's standing, his just looks so tiny.
Yeah.
That it bugs me.
Yeah, I don't really get that. And I'm looking at the, I forgot Lucy Liu's in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely Lucy Liu.
Yeah, this movie's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I'm still excited. I mean, release a picture of it. I'm still excited to see. I love the first Shazam. I just put it on the other night. It's so much fun.
Oh, I'll be down to see it either way. A little lightning bolt isn't gonna bug me so much that I'm not gonna see this movie.
New Shang-Chi trailer that looks fun as hell. More fighting, punchy. I am super excited for that movie. I read I don't know if you read Shang-Chi this week, but it was Shang-Chi versus Captain America.
I heard.
It was pretty awesome.
That's Abomination, because Cap should beat his ass.
Well, spoilers, but it was a whole plan they hatched together to work together and fool everybody. But
this is the first trailer, though, that connects it to the MCU, which was an interesting way they did it, because seeing Abomination and the steel cage match was fun.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I didn't put two and two together. I figured the guy in the first trailer, we saw the guy from the Spider-Man movies sitting on the train. The one that says, the one that says do a flipper.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, who's more important, Abomination or that dude?
I think this is much more blatant to be like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody, this is a Marvel movie.
Right. No,
But it looks great.
And just to clarify, I think the Mary is the same, but I don't think the Mary Marvel actress might be different, like you said, because
so the kid version is different.
No, the kid version is the same. Oh wait, no. So she plays the kid version and she plays the hero. Oh, because she just looks old enough now, I think. That's kind of strange.
That's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah, because I thought in the first one they changed it, right?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, she wasn't superhero Mary in the first one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so yeah, that's what's so weird. That's the actress that plays regular Mary, who's supposed to be like a senior in high school. And then they got an older woman to play superhero Mary Marvel. And then the next movie, this girl's playing both because I guess she can just be a high schooler and someone in their late 30s.
Maybe they needed to cut some costs on the cast and doubled up her role.
Yeah, maybe. Also, like, they didn't get a lot of screen time as the heroes too. I would be like, come on, like, give me a little more screen time than that, But either way. Okay, the new Polka Dot Man and His Amazing Friends trailer. Now that, I mean, Suicide Squad can't come soon enough for me. I'm so excited for that trailer, or that movie, that new trailer that focused on Idris Elba's character. Awesome. They pretty much turned him into Deadshot.
Yeah, that's what they were going for.
Yeah, the whole storyline of like his daughter, they're kind of like, that's how Amanda Waller is, twisting his arm with this whole thing, is using his, daughter against him and stuff like that. The butthole joke.
The butthole joke was good.
Yeah.
John Cena doing the butthole joke.
Yep, that was pretty great.
We got a much better look at Starro.
Yeah. And that's awesome. I mean, I don't know what more we could want out of this movie. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm almost at the point, though. It's still... Is it next month that's coming out?
I think so. The end of this month.
I'm almost positive it's August, but I'm reaching the point where I'm like, okay, we've hit max hype.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go any further.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch anything else. It's August 6th. It comes out. But yeah, I'm not watching any more trailers or any of that stuff. That's it. I've got enough,
So almost exactly a month from today.
But yeah, so let's hop over to this amazing interview we have with Mr. Jed MacKay, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
Yeah, so check out Jed MacKay if you're not already. If you're a Marvel fan, you know him. If you're a Magic fan, now you know him. He's doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, and I love we talked about Moon Knight a little bit, which is coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely be talking about it. But he wants to stay away from, not fully stay away from the split personality things. He'll deal with it, but more what he wants to deal with is just he's an on the ground vigilante,
mm-hmm.
and like him doing that after his whole issue with Age of Khonshu, and like the fact that he's just trying to do the right thing through all this. It's something I really wanted because I thought that a lot of creators get a little wacky with his whole split personality thing,
mm-hmm.
and it just gets kind of old. That being said, Jeff Lemire and Garth Ennis's version are phenomenal, so go read those too. But
mm-hmm. Yeah, Moon Knight. Who's playing him again? Someone in a movie.
Poe
Dameron. Yeah, still forgot that's happening.
Yeah, I'm zoning on his real name, but somebody out there's yelling at
Oscar Isaac. But man. Let's jump into the comic news. Marvel celebrating Miles Morales' 10th anniversary with a new costume with issue 30. It's a pretty cool costume. It's kind of like hip-hop-y.
Yeah, it's got a Brooklyn hip-hop style to it, I guess.
It's got a new symbol on the front.
It's fine. I'm sure it'll last like 10 issues, then we'll go back to the other one.
Until the next writer hops on and switches it back. We do have news who's taking over Amazing Spider-Man after Nick Spencer's final issue. Starting in October, the series will launch 3 issues a month. 3 issues a month. What?
Not the first time they've done it, too.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I mean, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you're picking all these up, but it's a rolling cast of creators, which means did not one person want to take a hold of this series, I guess. So we have, the creators including Kelly Thompson, Saladin Ahmed, Cody Ziegler, Patrick Gleason, Zeb Wells, all great talent. Mm-hmm. Also, Peter will no longer be Spider-Man, and Ben Reilly from the infamous Clone Saga will be taking over the mantle. Interesting. So we're bringing Clone back.
I mean, they've brought
what's going on here?
They brought Ben back for stuff before,
yeah,
but never as Spider-Man. I'm a Wayfair Spider-Man fan where like, hey, I'm not going to pick up 3 issues a month. Like,
right. That's crazy.
But I pick it up based on the talent involved, and if this was a regular Spider book and any one of these people were on it, I would probably check it out.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 times a month, I give 0 craps about Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's Spider fans out there that are like, fuck yeah, Ben Reilly's back.
Yeah, right.
Someone's
excited.
But it's interesting. It's definitely not the direction I expected them to go, as has been made very clear recently. Yeah. But it's a way.
Echo's getting her own series in October. Phoenix song Echo will be written by Rebecca Roanhorse and artist Luca Maresca. It's one X-Men out of the hundreds that we have, right?
Yeah, and it's like Echo's okay in the Avengers right now because she's got the power of Phoenix, but
other than that, it's like meh.
Echo's not a character for me, so.
Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino have announced their next collaboration following Gideon Falls. Awesome, because Gideon Falls is amazing. I think it's optioned for a TV show. It's a great horror book. Primordial is said to be a sci-fi series that mixed X-Files and 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay, you got me on the X-Files. Not a huge fan of Space Odyssey, but hopefully the plot is a little more coherent. I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but Skybound has announced... Oh, sorry, that's it. Yeah, so there's only one more thing that could get me excited for a horror book by, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino is to have a sci-fi horror book.
Yeah, and 2001 Space Odyssey is obviously a seminal movie that everybody knows, but it is so old at this point where like I can appreciate it, but it's not good.
Right, it's not good. Like in this
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry to all this the movie files out there, but like it's just not. But X-Files, like I dig me some X-Files.
Oh yeah. So this is like going to be like buddy cop space horror thing.
I don't even know if it's going to be horror.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just going to be straight sci-fi.
That's fine with me too.
The imagery, if you've seen the imagery, it's like a chimpanzee in a spacesuit with like a kind of tattered together American flag behind them. So I almost wonder if this is me probably being a little thinking too much about it, but like I get really heavy Planet of the Apes vibes too.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, that'd be cool if they do something on that line. Either way, I'll check this out. I love the creators. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, so
I'm excited for that. Skybound has announced the return of The Walking Dead to comics again. The new series will be a series of graphic novels.
Young adult graphic novels.
Oh, young adult graphic novels by Tilly Warden about the adventures of Clementine from the Telltale video games. The intro into the series can be found in this week's coming Skybound X #1. That's interesting because a lot of people love the Telltale games and that storyline. So
Yeah, and Clementine's a cool character.
yeah,
Like, I liked her in those games.
mm-hmm.
It's just really funny when they announced this and they made a big fuss about, like, The Walking Dead's back in comics. I'm like,
Right.
this is like the third time I've read this
Yeah, I know.
announcement.
This isn't like, yeah, you guys have done this a few times now. Like, oh, we're bringing back, printed issues with color. Like, it's like, okay, what else can you do?
But I like that it's going to be in Skybound X this week, so
Yeah,
we can check it out, and if we like it, then hey, let's buy the graphic novels series.
I don't know what the hell Skybound X is. Does that, do we know what's going to happen in that book?
Yeah, the main thing you're getting in that is Rick Grimes 3000, which
Okay.
is Rick Grimes with a lightsaber in the future
That's
fighting
all that
zombies.
matters. Yeah.
Drawn by Ryan Otley.
Yep.
And then the backups for it are different Skybound books. So you'll get like an Ultra Mega story, you'll get a Clementine story, you'll get a Redneck story, like so on and so forth. All the books they do will have like little mini 8 to 10 page stories in it. So it's basically an anthology that's meant to draw us in with the Rick Grimes with a lightsaber story, but then be like, hey, we have these cool things we're doing here, like Ultra Mega. If you like this, there's more comics out there.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I guess we'll see how awesome it is. I mean, you already got me with Rick Grimes and the lightsaber, so
yeah. Drawn by Ryan Otley, even.
Yeah, that too. Let's talk about what we read this week. Yeah, so I read quite a bit of stuff. I'm finishing up actually Avengers Mech Strike because I had a couple issues I still need to read on that. That's just a great series. I read Spawn's Universe #1. Did you read that?
So did I.
Just to check it out. And then I was confused because the next issue that follows that is like legacy numbering. So I was like, but it was a cool. I didn't know a whole lot about the universe of Spawn, but like, there's a gunslinger Spawn, and there's this other dude who gets reborn as like almost like a Venom Spawn. Maybe you know a little bit more about what's going on. There's a lady Spawn that's pretty cool.
I read next to no Spawn. I'll say the first story, like the main story in this, got me like interested in Spawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To where I would go back and see what Spawn's all about.
Yep.
The backup stories that were like talking about the different spawns, like the medieval Spawn and whatever, those were not done very well, in my opinion, because I feel like they were meant to get us interested and find out who those characters were.
Right.
And other than the fact that like the medieval Spawn's design was kind of cool.
Yeah, he looked cool.
I had zero interest in those characters as characters because I knew nothing about them.
Right, exactly.
But it's an okay jumping on point. They do kind of depend on some continuity throughout there, but I feel like they explained it enough where you can get through and then jump into Spawn moving forward.
I had. Did we talk about Infinite Frontier #1?
No.
That book, man. That's the book that takes place directly after the death metal, like when we get a whole new multiverse, and we have a new Justice League that is like a multiverse Justice League. But the issue starts off with Batman Earth 1, or not Earth 1, I'm sorry, Batman, Flashpoint Batman crash landing on Earth 23, which is the Earth with Black Superman. And there's a whole multiverse talk, and like we get a fight in the beginning with Alan Scott. So we know Alan Scott's going to be in this book with his children, and by the end of it, like Flash. So the Justice Incarnate is the new Justice League, and it has like Captain Carrot. It's got, what do they call it? Not Sunshine Superman, but
President Superman.
What's that?
President Superman.
Yeah, it's Earth 23 Superman. So
it's President Superman.
That's President Superman. Okay,
because it really does bug me that they have to like introduce him as that.
Yeah,
like in the beginning of the story, they his parents are there and they mention like my son's the president, blah blah.
Yeah,
That's all you need, in my opinion, because later on he says, I'm trying to pull the page up.
that's right. He is President Superman.
He literally says like, you can call me President Superman. I'm like, yeah, that's cheesy as shit, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should do that. And then by the end of it, like Flash finds out that the Quintessence has been killed by someone, and we know it's Darkseid. But he talks about like we get a glimpse of like the Flashes across the multiverse, and how isn't like a Flash always dies in one of these like crisis events, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is here that like Psycho Pirate shows up, and he's got like an Omega symbol on his chest.
Yeah, because Psycho Pirate is, if I remember correctly, he's like separated from all the crises, so he's seen and witnessed all of them. So he hasn't been changed with every iteration like everybody else. So now he's attempting to stop another crisis alongside Darkseid, which is interesting.
The other thing is that we didn't talk about, the multiverse is like a public thing now. So like even humans know about the multiverse, which is kind of funny to see like people denying that it exists and stuff like that.
That created some great moments where like not only did we get some kind of on the ground thoughts, and they did that through like Twitter bubbles, which was fun. But yeah, just the multiverse deniers, was a fun little rib at
and then
some things.
The issue wraps up with Roy Harper is in a diner, and he gets attacked because what do they say? He's not supposed to be there. Like some it's some like group that they know it's Arsenal, and I think they're trying to kill him because he's not supposed to be there, like in that multiverse or something. But at the end, he gets a hold of the White Lantern ring and summons like a Titans, or just I think there are Titans behind him, or just like an arrow Titans is what he summons. Like those are his like what he can conjure up with the ring. So somehow he got the White Lantern ring. Maybe that's how they're going to talk about how he got back from the dead, because now it's really confusing.
Is that supposed to be a White Lantern ring?
Is it White Lantern or Black Lantern?
I thought it was Black Lantern.
Either way.
But you're not the first person to tell me it's a White Lantern.
Yeah, maybe I got the symbols messed up. But
I'm just going by the fact that his suit is black.
Yeah.
I'm not the DC aficionado, but
it is. That is a Black Lantern.
It is, okay.
Symbol. Yeah.
Because I figured, too, with how like he's been resurrected, he's not supposed to be alive, blah, 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 Black Lantern ring.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. He's not supposed to be alive. Yeah, the White Lantern one is like the opposite of that. It just looked white. It looked more white in color than the original, so...
The ring itself
is white.
Was like glowing, so it looked white.
Yeah,
I get that, but I kept looking at the suit, being like, yeah, but wouldn't the suit be white if it was white? I don't
know. Yeah, but it was a crazy first issue. If you like multiverse stuff, which I love, a lot of comic book science.
Yeah, a lot of good moments too.
I read Afterlift, which is a Comixology original. It's a trade by Jason Liu and Chip Zdarsky. It's a really cool story. It's almost like Constantine and Need for Speed. Like, this girl who's like an Uber driver gets caught up driving someone to hell. Like this demon guy is bringing a girl to hell. So, along the way, she figures out like the girl she's driving like OD'd on drugs and wants to give her like a second chance. So when she gets to like the afterlife, she kind of peels off with her and tries to get her to heaven, which it's a really interesting story of like, hardcore racing and like demons and angels fighting, and it's pretty cool.
That's a fun book.
Another one that's on Comixology is Spider-Man Life Story by Chip Zdarsky. I'm about halfway through this book. I love these life story books. I'm learning so much about Spider-Man that I never knew because I don't read any Spider-Man books. And more importantly, I read about spider clones, or I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, you ever want to be real confused, you should read through the original Clone Saga, because it is a clusterfuck.
It was really confusing just from the life story thing, because like he comes back and then like he leaves Gwen Stacy and the clone, or the clone goes with Mary Jane or something. I don't even know. I try to figure out what was going on there.
Yeah, in the actual saga, if I remember correctly, they were originally going to make it so Ben was the real Spider-Man. Like, he was the original and Peter was the clone.
Oh my god.
And then somewhere along the line, somebody's like, this is a bad idea. So they had to comic book it, like, retcon it through the...
And then they said, like, in that story, like, the real Gwen Stacy was in the tube that they killed.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah. I heard a lot more stuff here. I'm just going through my Comixology.
Crossover. Batman Superman?
What's that?
Did you do Batman Superman number 19?
No, I didn't get that for some reason. It should pull it for me automatically, but did you read it?
Yeah, it's Batman Superman in the Wild West. Derek Robertson does some pages for it.
Nice.
And it continues to be awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, I thought I had it on my pull list, but it's not here.
A couple more I had last week. Batman Reptilian.
Oh, I did read that. Yep.
Which was phenomenal. Also, the art, because Liam Sharp does paints all the pages.
Yeah,
and it's just stunning.
Yeah, and that's just like, I don't really like someone's going around, gutting Batman villains.
Yeah. And we're not sure who it is, but I love the moment, the beginning of it with the guy who's a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically getting off, and Batman just like shows him what's what. Be like, yeah, you got off, but you know what you did to those women.
Right. Oh yeah, he just like, and he gets them to attack him so he could beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And say it's self-defense, pretty much.
Also, last week was Black Hammer Reborn number 1.
Oh, okay.
Which was the return of the daughter of Black Hammer, but in this one we're kind of like 10, 15 years in the future, and she's no longer Black Hammer, and there's like this organization that deals with supervillain events.
Oh.
So superheroes are basically illegal.
Okay.
And she's kind of dealing with the fact that she knows she can help, but she's not supposed to. So it's an interesting little look at like a woman trying to switch over from that life to just being like a housewife.
Yeah.
And in the end, we find out that maybe she's going to go back.
Parasomnia number 1 by Colin Bunn.
I didn't get a chance to read that one. Damn it.
That was it was interesting. There's a boy who's in a coma that's like, but within the coma he's like trapped, and there's a like this guy in like the 1800s looking for a boy, and he's like fighting through, like he's a swordsman that's like looking for him. So I think there's some connection there. And there's also a homeless guy in the real world that I think is supposed to be in the dream world, he's the guy that's searching for the boy who's in the coma. So it's an interesting story. They don't talk too much about like what's going on with the main character yet that's in a coma, so it's more of just like the fantasy story, but it's really good. If you like Colin Bunn, check it out. Crossover number 7, did you read that?
Oh yeah, I did.
That was the super, this is Chip Zdarsky's only on this one issue, so it's super meta, and kind of like narcissistic. Kind of annoying at some points, but yeah, like Chip Zdarsky comes and finds Chip Zdarsky pretty much, because all the comic characters are alive. And
being a fan of Chip Zdarsky, this, and following him as not an artist and a writer, but as a human, this makes more sense, because this is kind of the caricature of how he presents himself.
Right.
And yeah, like literally Chip Zdarsky drew himself in Sex Criminals as part of a sequence. So like he knows the quote unquote real Chip Zdarsky knows that somebody's out there trying to kill comic creators, and he thinks that it's himself from sex criminals. He ends up finding out that it's not, that version of himself is trying to save him. But like you said, it gets a little bit narcissistic, but I laugh at it because like literally there's a sequence of him fucking spooning himself.
Yeah. Like what the hell?
If anyone out there reads it, like understand who like Chip is and that this isn't serious. He's very aware of himself. But we also get at the end the characters from Powers show up to try to help him.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Interesting. But then we're gonna go back right to the Donny Cates story for the next issue.
Yeah, I almost wonder if like this is gonna pop up after every story arc.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they're gonna go back to the adventures of Chip Zdarsky.
Yep. Yeah, maybe that would be interesting. And then Shang-Chi #2. This is Shang-Chi with Captain America. Basically, the Cosmic Cube is being sold for auction, and Captain America pretends to, like, Shang-Chi's putting up a cover to make himself look like a criminal, so to buy it, and then they kind of steal it together. But Dagger, who is Shang-Chi's, like, right-hand man, is kind of like, why would you want to work with Cap? Like, I thought you were actually, like, a cool, like, crime lord. So he pulls a fast one on them and steals the Cosmic Cube for himself because he loves one of the other, like, Lady Fan, I think her name is. He really likes her, so he's going to go against Shang-Chi and kind of, I think it's going to create a divide for him to be like the villain. But it was cool to see Cap show up and him like chat with Shang-Chi about stuff. And I think that's all I had.
Okay, well, my last book from last week was Heroes Return #1, which is the end of the Heroes Reborn, and it's a punch fest, like Avengers versus, and we get the world back to quote unquote normal, but the Squadron Supreme still remembers what happened on the other world, so they're kind of more aware of what the world was. And it's an interesting little thread that we could jump back to later on in the story where like they kind of feel that the world was better. Oh. Even though we learned that Mephisto was behind it the whole time. And he was the one that kind of changed the world in Coulson's eye. Mm-hmm. And then we get there's a new threat that's definitely going to pop up later on, which is Mephisto has now created a council of Mephistos across the multiverse. Nice. So what's better than one Mephisto?
All of them.
616 Mephistos.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then for this week, Star Wars The High Republic #6. Really good book. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's just good Star Wars action with none of the baggage of, Skywalker saga stuff. And it feels like it reminds me of like KOTOR and the Old Republic stuff, where like we're in kind of a different age, we're dealing with different threats, but very similar vibes and themes. Beta Ray Bill #4. Beta Ray Bill kind of gets swallowed up by this thing that kind of reminds me of the Black. Is it the Black Orchid from DC?
The plant, yeah.
Yeah.
Black Mercy.
Where he's brought back to remember some of the most horrific moments of his life, and he has to fight through them to get out the other side. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets out the other side, he finds out that he's reached the final level of hell, and he sees the sword that he's came to claim. And just as you think that the issue is done, Surtur shows up and says, "No, you have to fight me for that sword." And that's going to be the last issue. But Daniel Warren Johnson's Surtur, for the video people and Mike, is just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Like that one page of him, I love it. Daredevil #31, we're continuing with Daredevil in jail. The big thing here was that Bullseye's back, and he's convinced himself that he needs to be the greatest assassin that's ever lived. Mm-hmm. And to do that, he's going to kill every single person in Manhattan. And there's this really fucked up scene of him on top of a building, and he snipes somebody, and he goes one down, and however many live in New York City left to go.
Wow.
And it just sent chills down my spine. Avengers Mech Strike number 4 was Thanos joining the Avengers, which was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And they create a plan on how they're going to attack Kang by sending the mechs out to fight the giant lizards. But behind the scenes, them jumping in and attacking Kang head on as a kind of a surprise attack. And then at the end, as Kang just destroys Thanos, we get Black Panther returning back to life, and he now has the power of eternity with him. So that's going to make for an interesting conclusion to this.
Interesting.
Super fun book.
Power of eternity.
The United States of Captain America number 1.
There you go. It's the book.
It's all in all, it's really good. I thought the first 4 pages were like a little preachy, but as soon as we get past that, it gets into this. Cap gets attacked, he loses his shield, he goes off and fights, and then he meets the kid that is running the rails in inspiration of Cap. And that's where we get the real good moment of like Cap remembering like who Captain America is as an inspiration and is somebody that people look up to do the right thing and all this. And that part just made me really happy. It was straight up the best Captain America you can get. And then we get kind of a backstory of what happened with this kid. He's basically homeless, and he finds this camp that Roxxon's running and just kind of enslaving people. And that's when he decides like he's going to dress up like Cap and try, fight for people. And he saves everybody and decides to go on the rails and help these people make a new life, all while falling in love. But it was a good issue altogether. I just suggest everybody skip the first 4 pages because I thought he gets a little preachy. It's like, I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
it's Captain America.
It's something that every Cap writer feels like they have to do, where it's like, here's my thesis on the American dream, and it's like, there's merit in that, but like I've seen it so many times, I'm just done with it.
Yeah, you're over it.
What I'm not over is Barbaric number 1.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
So we get this barbarian who has been cursed by these witches, and he's been cursed to basically make amends for all the evil he's done, and he's given this axe that can talk to him.
Nice.
But nobody else can hear the axe but him. So like constantly throughout the book, everybody's just like, are you talking to your axe right now? Like, I think this guy's crazy.
That's kind of interesting because there's a Dota champion called Axe, or hero called Axe, and he talks to his axe.
Really? I didn't.
Yeah, and he looks kind of like that.
Maybe that's the inspiration for this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But then we get to the last part, and the axe kind of forces him to do good. And in the final part, we learn that this woman's about to be burned at the stake for being a witch. And his axe is just like, you gotta go help this woman. It's the right thing to do. So he goes out and fights him. And then he realizes that, like, as he kills everybody, he's like, wait, you are a witch? Because she, like, pulls a sword out of her skin. She has all these tattoos on her. She pulls a sword out of one of the tattoos. He's like, oh, fuck. And then she goes, well, I never said I wasn't a witch. I'm just not a bad witch. And that's when they realize that there's this serpent on top of the hill that's basically causing people to do evil deeds. And they decide to join up and fight. And the axe gets really happy because the witch can hear him talk. So he's like, I finally have somebody else to talk to.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's really good. The art's fantastic. I recommend it highly.
Yeah, I just pre-ordered the next issues because I'm going to read this one for sure. That's Vault Comics. And the interesting thing about Vault Comics and Comixology is they provide a PDF, a DRM-free backup through Comixology.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a little button underneath it. I just saw that, so that's pretty cool.
So it's interesting you bring up Dota real quick, just as a sidebar before we end. I don't think I told you I am going to be playing a MOBA here soon.
Oh, which one?
Pokemon Unite.
Is that a MOBA?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, I haven't looked that up. When does that come out?
Soon, next couple weeks, I think.
Oh my god, it is a MOBA. What the hell is this?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I gotta check it out.
What does it come out for? PC or for Switch?
It's gonna be Switch at first, and then we're gonna have a cell phone version. I don't know if they're gonna do a PC version.
That's amazing. That is so crazy. Wow. Cool, man. I don't know how you're gonna play a MOBA with like a joystick, but good luck. It's gonna be a nightmare.
I'll let everybody know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Speaking of letting everybody know, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
Well, they can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and they can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter and Instagram. Or they can go to fortresscomicnews.com. Remember, everybody, if you're listening, to give us 5 stars on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use. And if you're watching this, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below. And if you want to go the extra mile, there's always Patreon at patreon.com/fortresscomics. Thank you all so much for listening this week. And I would say we'll see you all here next week, but we might be seeing you sooner. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Maybe we will. Bye.